Rachel Bellenger, and I'm going to be doing a persuasive speech today for a ministry in Bryan, Texas called Pioneers. Bryan, Texas is a good community, but for kids it's kind of a rough place to grow up. As you can see on this graph, crime rates in Bryan are higher than the Texas average and the national average. So that means violent crimes like aggravated assault and rape are higher in Bryan, and also property crimes. So if you live in Bryan, there's a 1 in 27 chance that you'll be a victim of property crime. Also included in on this slide, you can see that the poverty level is 25% higher than the Texas average and 81% higher than the national average. And so this community has a lot of crime and has a lot of poverty, which is not a very good mix, especially for the kids of Bryan. So as poverty increases, statistics have shown that high school dropout rates increase, teen pregnancy, things like being a victim of violent crime, and also poor health. Those are all things that are included in difficulties involved in poverty and high crime rates in the area that you live. According to a Princeton study, much of the kids that grow up in poverty continue to live in poverty their whole entire lives. And so it's this huge cycle of poverty and violence that is something that needs to be broken. So on this next slide, I'm introducing to you a ministry called Pioneers. It is a part of Emmanuel Baptist Church in Bryan, Texas, and it's kind of like an after-school program for 5 to 12-year-olds. It works kind of the same way as Sunday school works at church, and so there's a lesson time, and there are songs and a healthy meal and games that the kids can play, and the idea is that the kids will turn their energy into something more positive than anything that they can get their hands onto in the neighborhood. According to one of the coordinators, Meredith Elms, Pioneers is a place where kids can come to hear about the love of Jesus and the way that he can change our lives, rather than just being disciplined or trying to live your life on your own. And so that's the main heart behind Pioneers. But something that it offers is a good setup for mentorship. So there are tons of college volunteers that come to Pioneers, and the way that the ministry is set up is that the college volunteers should be able to mentor to these kids and be a positive influence on their lives, so that hopefully they will come to know Jesus and also change their circumstances and their character into something more positive. Pioneers is something that I've been a part of for the past 2 years, and I'm actually a coordinator for Pioneers as well. And so I love this ministry, and I definitely think that with mentorship and having positive influences in their lives, kids can turn around the cycles that they're thrown into with the poverty and the crime. Mainly with Jesus, but religion aside, I think that positive role models are the biggest way to help a kid come out of bad situations, really. So if you can, for a minute, just think about how cool Bryan could be if each of these kids was loved and mentored and discipled into something that they could come out of their circumstances, and they could go and show their parents the same love that they've been shown at Pioneers, and that they could talk to their parents about the things that they're learning, and that they could learn how to overcome their obstacles and show that to their parents as well. With starting with the kids like Pioneers does, and hoping that they go back and show their families and their communities, we're hoping that the cycle will break with the kids, and as the kids grow up, they won't have to worry about the things that their parents had to worry about, and they can be brighter lights in the Bryan College Station area. So that is what Pioneers does. And statistically, it shows that that if a kid is born into poverty and grows up in poverty, that they will stay in poverty. And so that's the idea behind breaking the cycle with the kids, is that they won't have to grow up in poverty, or even if they do grow up in poverty, they won't be stuck in poverty for the rest of their lives, and then they can raise their own kids and hopefully kind of revitalize the community, I guess. And so if you feel like you want to be a part of Pioneers, there are tons of ways to volunteer by giving your time on Fridays or helping in the kitchen to make a healthy meal for the kids. You can either volunteer your time in that way, or you could donate money. There are some financial needs at Pioneers, like getting the kids new things to play with, and helping with transportation to get the kids there and back home, and things like that. And also, if you are a Christian, to pray for Pioneers as a ministry. And those are all good things that you can do for Pioneers. So thank you.